Hey everyone, it is Dani and welcome to this update video. I hope you're all having a fantastic Friday thus far. And so we'll be taking a look at the latest for the Caribbean. Of course, some increased rainfall activities expected for Trinidad and last hurricane season. As you would have seen in the thumbnail, Fiona and Ian were retired. And so before I go into details, please do subscribe if you haven't done so already and tap the notification bell so that you never miss an important update. Okay, and so let's go ahead and start off with those names that were retired from last hurricane season. So due to the devastation that these cyclones caused, they were both retired. Fiona was a stronger cyclone. Of course, Ian was a stronger in terms of wind speeds, but in terms of the minimum central pressure, Fiona was the strongest of the season. And it did quite a bit of damage, especially in Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, and also for parts of Atlantic Canada. And Ian, as we know, it made its way across the Caribbean. It made landfall in Cuba as a Category 3 and then intensified to a high-end Cat 4 in the Gulf of Mexico before moving into Florida and absolutely battering the states. So it was only fitting that both of those names were retired. So Fiona was replaced with Farah, I think that is the correct pronunciation, I'm not quite sure, and Ian with Idris. So the list of names repeats every 6 years, and that means the 2022 list will be used again in 2028 with the replacement names. So yeah, and this is a little bit late because it was actually Wednesday afternoon when the World Meteorological Organization retired these names, and I made a community post about it just minutes after it was announced. And in that video as well, some persons pointed that out in the comments. So if you guys didn't know, well, now you do. So now let's move on to the Caribbean weather updates. And so we're looking at the infrared satellite here for the region, and we can see that at the moment there are some cloud clusters here and there moving across the region, but for the most part beautiful sunshine for majority of the Caribbean islands. Nothing major, we're not seeing all of those pops of color. However, that could change for Trinidad as we progress into tomorrow, since some rainfall activity is expected between now and as late as Sunday. So within the region right now, we can definitely see some cloud coverage, possibly some rainfall there as well. If you're in Trinidad, you can let me know what's happening in your area. But let's go ahead and take a look at what the models are expecting in terms of rainfall totals, starting out with the GFS. So this is between now and near the end of tomorrow, and this is quite a bit of rainfall activity that the model is expecting here. Of course, as we head up, as we head from those green shades to the blues and those purples, that is increasing totals. And when we see that lilac shade, it represents the minimum of 2 inches of rainfall, and we can see that just offshore of Trinidad, between Trinidad and the northeastern part of Venezuela. So if there is indeed heavy rainfall within your area, guys, please ensure to take the necessary precautions. Do not attempt to cross flooded roadways if you happen to be driving when there is a heavy downpour and you see the road getting inundated. Please do not take any unnecessary risks. However, contrasting that, here we have the Euro, and we can see here that it is not expecting as much rainfall activity because we're not seeing those lilac shades there that the GFS was showing. But overall, there is some rainfall activity expected between now and then. And as I said, in the event of heavy rainfall, when there is even some minor flooding taking place, please do not take any unnecessary risks. But as for the rest of the region, just your usual rainfall for some areas. It is quite dry. And actually, for the GFS model, moving to the simulated infrared satellite, this is as we're heading into later tomorrow, going to the end of the day. There we can see that increased convective activity that the model is expecting. And note that this is just a forecast, which means that there can be inaccuracies, but it's just what is expected from the model. And so, guys, of course, I'm going to be keeping you updated once it is necessary, and that is pretty much it for right now. And so if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I will try to respond as best and as soon as I can. And of course, remember to always be weatherwise.